Yes, we do have breaking news for you this evening, and this is information you need to know, especially if you are traveling in Greenville County this evening. A bomb threat investigation is underway right alongside Interstate 85.
This is near mile marker 44, which is White Horse Road. Our Nate Stanley joins us live with the latest details. Nate.
Good afternoon. As I mentioned earlier, things still shut down here on White Horse Road. Lanes to get onto 85 all shut down, and in just the last minute or so, there was actually a truck that tried to pull up through White Horse Road. Police officers got out of their vehicles, shouting at the car, telling it to stop, eventually getting it to turn around and make its way back down off of White Horse Road. Sky 4 has a look at the scene. Above us, here's what we know so far. Information that we have confirmed from the Greenville County Sheriff's Office in a statement. The Sheriff's Office says that Greenville County SWAT and bomb team members are on the scene right now at Interstate 85 northbound near mile marker 44. They say that they are working in conjunction with the state transportation police after a threat of a potential hazardous device was reported. They say they are working diligently to ensure the scene is safe and to get traffic moving as quick as possible. South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster also says that this started as a routine traffic stop on 85, and right now crews are working to clear and sweep a tractor trailer along the highway. As I mentioned, things here completely cut off. Law enforcement for several hundred yards in either direction, keeping things closed off from cars. As I mentioned, that truck that came through here a few minutes ago was strictly told to stop and turn around, and the police officers made sure that the truck did so before it could get closer to the highway, turning cars around as they are making their way here in either direction. As we mentioned, this is an ongoing situation. We are going to try to work to provide you as much information as it becomes available as this bomb threat continues to develop. There is information from South Carolina Highway Patrol on our website WYFF4.com with detour routes for all lanes of 85. There's been people who are standing in a Waffle House parking lot right now, right off of White Horse Road, and just streams of cars coming in, realizing that it is blocked here and turning around. People asking us the situation, seeing what's going on, and people turning around trying to find their way home. As I mentioned, this time of night normally completely packed here on White Horse Road, but now things completely shut down. As you mentioned, the Greenville County Sheriff's Office says they are working with SWAT and bomb team members to work on sweeping this scene and clearing it so they can open the lanes of the highway. Once again, detour routes are available on WYFF4.com. We will continue to provide you information as it becomes available. Reporting in Greenville, Nate Stanley, WYFF News 4.
Nate, thank you. And as Nate just mentioned, South Carolina Highway Patrol has set up detours around the incident.
Our Sydney Shadricks joins us now. And Sydney, how can people get around that interstate closure?
Carol, Nigel, detours are set up around both the north and southbound sides of I-85. Here we go. Let's take a look. If you're headed north, state troopers say exit 85 at mile marker 40, and then you're going to turn left onto Highway 153. You're going to take 153 to Highway 20. Once you're on Highway 20, you're going to turn left onto Bracken Road and then head to Augusta Road. Once you're on Augusta Road, head north to Highway 291. That will take you back to I-85. If you are southbound on 85, we're going to do the exact opposite. You're going to take the exit to Highway 291, turn left and head south to Augusta Road. Then you'll take Bracken Road to Highway 20. After turning right onto Highway 20, travel to Brown Road and turn left. That will take you to Highway 153 and then back to Interstate 85 at mile marker 40. Again, all of this is on our website directly from Highway Patrol. You can find that on WYFF4.com. Carol, Nigel.
Sydney. Thank you very much. All right, this all began about 2 hours ago, and we're following the news. We've been following it ever since. A bomb threat investigation underway along Interstate 85. This is video, obviously, because it's daytime video. This is from earlier this afternoon. There's the truck in question, the semi in question right now. You can see officers there blocking the interstate, that lane of the interstate, as this investigation got underway.
And Nigel, we understand that all of this started with an encounter between the driver of that truck and transport police. Now, you might know transport police from some of the way stations you see along the highway. There's usually a car there with a bubble top getting ready to maybe track down trucks that didn't stop to be weighed or for any other kind of transportation problem. We understand there was an encounter between transport police and the semi driver, and at some point word came that there could potentially be a bomb on that truck.
Obviously, with everything that has been unfolding the past couple of days, authorities wanted to take every precaution possible, as they would in any situation. Shut down the northbound lane, shut down the southbound lane, and this is where we are. We have been getting trickles of information coming in every few minutes or so, definitely about the detours, but obviously about the investigation and where it stands as of right now.
Now, we mentioned that this is near mile marker 44, which is White Horse Road. If you know anything about the I-85 corridor through Greenville County, you know that that's often a very busy corridor, especially during that time of day.
Yeah.
This is where the truck actually pulled over.
So this is, as you said, near mile marker 44. Now, that whole Interstate 85 is an artery, obviously, between Atlanta and Charlotte. So the amount of people this is affecting is huge. It's not just people traveling in the upstate, it's people traveling across the country. So with this part of the interstate shut down, and it's a very heavily traveled part of the interstate, authorities are having to take every precaution obviously possible, and you can see now as Sky 4 is back out live, obviously it's night, so you cannot see much in this picture, but you can see, what you can't see is a bunch of white lights and red lights as people travel up and down the interstate.
And as Sky 4 revolves around this scene, you will see that it looks like rubies going one way, diamonds coming the other, a big backup. Although state troopers have come up with detour plans, and you can find that on WYFF.com if you would like to. If you're heading out in that direction tonight and you would like to know how to get around this, that is your resource to get exact directions.
Our resource right now on the ground, right at the scene, is our own Nate Stanley. Nate, what is the latest information?
Nigel, Carol, things still shut down here in all directions on White Horse Road as well as 85. We're standing here right now in a Waffle House parking lot where people have been doing the turning around. Cars, constant stream of them at this point, as you mentioned. A lot of people coming through here as on their way to work or on their way home from work. People have come by and talked with us about that, saying that, you know, they're trying to get to Anderson or they're trying to get to other parts of the upstate, and they are not able to do so because it is shut down. We've been seeing some of the law enforcement vehicles driving up and down this street, sirens every once in a while, some law enforcement beeping at people as they're trying to find their way around here, turning them around at points. But things do still remain closed. As you mentioned, Greenville County Sheriff's Office confirmed that this is an active bomb threat, telling us that they have SWAT and bomb team members on the scene here on 85 northbound near mile marker 44. South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster also says that they have confirmed this as a bomb threat during a routine traffic stop on 85, and that crews are working to clear and sweep a tractor trailer that is on the highway. Said it's an abundance of caution that they are shutting down all of these routes. People have, as I mentioned, just been coming through this parking lot, assuming that they might be able to get a chance to get onto White Horse Road here, and there is now a highway patrol vehicle that is stopping them from doing so. Not too long ago, a few minutes ago, we did see a truck make it towards the ramp when they were told very strictly by law enforcement officers to turn around and to stop driving. Sky 4 does have a look above us at the scene right now. Things normally this time of day would be completely packed as people are getting onto 85, but as I mentioned, a very odd visual here on White Horse Road to see it completely empty for hundreds of yards in either direction. We're going to continue to stay here. We're going to continue to look for answers and provide you information as it becomes available. Nigel, Carol?
Thank you, Nate. Nigel, as you mentioned, I-85, a major corridor for travel through South Carolina. And White Horse Road, also a major artery for travel. If you're on I-85 and you want to get to northern Greenville County by bypassing Greenville, that's the road you would get on. That road, 6 lanes wide in some places, usually very busy at this time of day, at the end of the workday. So this is a very strategic spot right now.
We will have much more on this developing breaking news story on the other side of this break. We want to get back to that breaking news situation right now on Interstate 85. Part of the interstate shut down in both directions. Highway Patrol doing an investigation of a semi-truck. That is an active scene right now. Detours have been set up around this incident.
Yeah, it's I-85 near the exit 44, which is the White Horse Road exit. Our Sydney Shadricks joins us now. And Sydney, how can people get around that interstate closure?
Carol, detours are set up around both the north and southbound sides of I-85, but really if you can just avoid the entire area near exit 40, if you can get off before exit 40, that would be the best thing to do, because still these roads are going to be slammed with people taking these detours. But if you are taking 85 northbound, you're going to take exit 40 onto Highway 153. You're going to follow Highway 153 to Highway 20. Off of Highway 20, turn left onto Bracken Road and travel to Augusta Road. Once you reach Augusta Road, head north to Highway 291. That will take you back on I-85. Now, if you are on southbound 85, you're going to do the exact opposite. You're going to take the exit to Highway 291, turn left and head south to Augusta Road. Then you'll take Bracken Road to Highway 20. After turning right onto Highway 20, travel to Brown Road and turn left. That will take you to Highway 153 and back to Interstate 85 at mile marker 40. Again, these are the detours given to us by officials, but we are looking in real time to see if there are any other ways that you can go to avoid this entire area completely, because again, we've seen how massive of a backup this is, and all of these people will be going on these different detours. So again, we're working diligently to find the best way to get you to your destination. Carol, Nigel.
Sydney, thank you very much. And if you are headed out tonight and you didn't get all of that, we do have it on WYFF4.com. Might also suggest the WYFF app that also tells you where roads are blocked and offers alternate routes as well. Jane, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, Carol and Nigel, thank you. I have been in contact with our security expert, Phil Carter. Phil is a former local and federal law enforcement officer. He's also now with Sierra Consulting. They do national security consulting. And I just asked Phil, what can we tell our viewers? Give us some insight into maybe some of the safety concerns and also how law enforcement is handling this right now. Phil said that since this truck was pulled over by the state transport police, so he said since this was started as a traffic stop, it is not likely that the driver intended to stop his truck right there. This was, if he did intend any harm, this was not likely the spot where he intended to do that. Phil also says, and forgive me, I'm just taking this right off of my phone, he says that he feels like law enforcement has done exactly the right thing here. They backed up and secured the scene so that they could begin to negotiate with this driver. He says they know that it's exceptionally inconvenient for all of these drivers on both lanes of I-85.
But safety first.
But safety is first, Nigel. That's exactly right. And Phil said that negotiation is the first objective of law enforcement. He feels like as long as this person, this truck driver, is talking, then there is an opportunity for this to come to a peaceful resolution. Phil Carter also saying that the last thing that law enforcement wants to do is to try to forcefully enter the bed of that truck. He said entry on these types of events are a last resort. Law enforcement will only do that if they are forced to. Law enforcement's #1 objective is to end this peacefully. And so hopefully that will be what happens soon. And of course, Phil is staying on top of all of this, and we will continue to keep our viewers updated on this as well. And of course, prayers for our law enforcement agencies. Sure. Yeah. This is now also, we're in touch with the South Carolina Department of Public Safety, and we have asked them a number of questions. When we do get those answers, we'll be able to report that.
Did your contact feel that there is a conversation going on? They have called in SWAT, they have called in the bomb squad. Is he fairly confident that there is a discussion going on between the driver and these teams?
Yes, Carol. In fact, he told me early on in our discussions this evening that even the driver having notified the law enforcement that pulled him over of a potential bomb, which is what we are hearing that they initially reported. He said even just saying that probably means that this person wants to negotiate, and whether or not there's any hazardous material or explosive material is still a big question. And that's still not definitive.
And we have to remember, we are on high alert after what happened in New Orleans, after the Cybertruck explosion at the Trump International in Las Vegas. And then we've got a football game, a huge football game happening right now. So everywhere is on alert, and we have to take every situation seriously.
And law enforcement can never make an assumption when someone makes a threat like this.
Unsung heroes in this, the transportation police, we hardly ever hear about them.
Yes, Carol.
But when you think of the quantity and the variety of materials that travel on interstates every single day, the work they do is invaluable.
That's exactly right. And that was one of the questions that I have put into the Department of Safety, Public Safety, is that what did public transport see that made them pull this truck over? Is it some intelligence that they got? Was he driving erratically? So hopefully we'll get an answer to that. But you're exactly right. There's so many layers of law enforcement that we never hear from, and they are indeed the unsung heroes, Carol, for sure.
Jane, thank you very much. If you are just joining us, we'd like to bring you up to speed. We are following breaking news in Greenville County. A bomb threat investigation is underway along Interstate 85. This is near mile marker 44, which is Whitehorse Road. We are showing you some daytime video. It is much easier to see the situation when we have some daylight on it, Nigel.
Exactly. So you could see kind of the situation when the sun was still up, how it was unfolding, the interstate shutdown, the truck in question. Now we want to take you live. Obviously, it's nighttime right now. Our Nate Stanley is live at the scene where it is dark, but the situation is currently unfolding. Nate, what is the very latest?
And Nigel is continuing to develop. New into our newsroom, we learned that FBI Columbia is also on scene right now as law enforcement works to negotiate this active bomb threat. Things continuing to stand still here from Whitehorse Road. Police still keeping this road blocked on all sides, on all lanes, turning cars around. I want to touch on something Sydney said a little bit earlier. She had mentioned that people should avoid this area entirely. That's kind of what we've been seeing here. People being turned around, people trying to find any way to get back to where they're trying to go tonight. It is not an easy place to maneuver right now because of how much road blockage is going on. And also just above us, we've seen some of the street lights just turn off here right as you were coming live to me. So the scene continuing to change, the conditions here continuing to change. As you can imagine, law enforcement working with all the factors in this situation. As I mentioned, we learned that FBI Columbia is on the scene. Skyford was above us with a look at that earlier today. The newest information we have from the Greenville Sheriff's Office is that Greenville County SWAT and bomb team members are on scene here on 85 near mile marker 44. They say they're working in conjunction, as Carol mentioned, with the state transport police after a threat of a potential hazardous device was reported. They say they're working to ensure the scene is safe and get traffic moving as quick as possible. This is also something that has the eyes of South Carolina. Governor Henry McMaster, in a statement, he said that this started as a routine traffic stop on 85, and right now crews are working to clear and sweep a tractor trailer along the highway, clearing both of those streets in an abundance of caution. And as we're standing here on White Horse Road, there is another vehicle that has just passed through White Horse Road here, past both the ramps, and it seems they're continuing to drive there. Did not look like a law enforcement vehicle. They are driving through White Horse Road. Just in the last hour or two that we've been here, we have seen the law enforcement vehicles changing their positions, moving around, going to the other law enforcement vehicles, talking. There was a car that made its way down towards the ramp, and they were told very strictly, very loudly. We could hear them from all the way over here, police yelling at that car, telling it to turn around. So this is still a very serious scene. Law enforcement not allowing anybody to get close to the scene. We're standing in a Waffle House parking lot right now, a few hundred yards away from where that tractor trailer is. And as I said earlier, cars coming through here, people just turning around, people confused about what's going on, asking each other what they've been seeing and hearing. The Waffle House employees here also saying that this has been the scene that they've seen for a few hours now. Normally this time of night, it is completely packed full of people trying to get home, people driving through rush hour. And as I mentioned, it's getting darker out here, so if you are driving around, if you have friends, family driving around this time of night, just remind them to be patient, as everybody's trying to find their way home and trying to find how to navigate this situation. Like I said, law enforcement still here. There's been no increase or decrease of law enforcement vehicles since we've gotten here. The same amount just posted up, keeping people away from the scene, turning cars around as they try to get onto White Horse Road or try to get closer to 85. We're going to continue to provide you updates as they become available. As I mentioned, Greenville County Sheriff's Office says that they have a SWAT team and a bomb team on scene working this active incident, as well as just learned that FBI Columbia is here on scene to working through this bomb threat. We're going to continue to provide you updates, continue to bring you live reports from here as the situation develops. Nigel and Carol.
Nate, thank you very much. It's interesting to hear that the FBI is now involved. It could be that this is an interstate 85. We're not sure where the truck originated from, but the FBI is now involved. We also heard, Nigel, that I-185, which is partly a toll road, they have lifted the tolls. So if you or a loved one, anybody you're in communication with, if they need to find some sort of detour or a way around this, remember that the tolls are now lifted on I-185.
So you are looking live at the backup, and this is near mile marker 46. This is the DOT camera right here. So obviously it is very sensitive to the light. So when you see it get bright, this is just the camera adjusting to the amount of light on the screen. But right now you can see it is backed up as people who are driving into this situation try to figure out what's going on and what detours are in place. All of the detours, we have posted them on our website, WYFF4.com. But again, this is mile marker 46, and you can see traffic is backing up. It has been backing up. We're almost going on 3 hours that this situation has been taking place. You can only imagine the amount of people that it is affecting right now.
Well, Nigel, it is a backup, but what is heartening is that the traffic is moving. So apparently some of the detours are working. This is at mile marker 46. 6. The incident is happening at mile marker 44. So apparently people are finding a way. They are learning about this. They are finding a way to detour around the situation.
Yeah, and again, the situation is still developing. We will continue to follow it. We'll have more after this break.
We do have breaking news for you. This is I-85 near mile marker 44, which is White Horse Road. It is closed due to a bomb threat. At about 4:30 this afternoon, the State Transport Police did a routine traffic stop on a semi-truck. And at that point, we're advised by the driver that there might be something explosive on board. We are not sure of exactly what they told the transport police, but whatever it was caused the shutdown of that stretch of the interstate and the resulting backup you see here.
Yes, the Highway Patrol has set up detours around the incident. Again, this is a developing story. It is affecting a lot of people through rush hour traffic. So right now those detours are set up. But first we want to show you this. A statement has come in from Congressman William Timmons. It says, thank you to Greenville County Sheriff's Office, SLED, and SCDOT for their swift response to the incident today on Interstate 85 in Greenville. We will continue to monitor the situation and remain in contact with local authorities.
South Carolina's Highway Patrol has set up detours around this incident.
Our Sydney Shadracks joins us now. And Sydney, tell us how people can get around this interstate closure.
Yeah, detours are set up around both the north and southbound sides of I-85. But we just spoke to Nate earlier, who's on the scene, and he said a lot of folks are looking for these detours, and that's causing a lot of traffic, even in the areas where there are the detours. So if you can avoid this area completely, getting off at the Malden Road exit or the Powdersville exit in the other direction, that would be the best bet just to avoid this area in its entirety. But if you do need a detour around mile marker 44, if you're headed north, state troopers say you want to take exit 40 and turn left onto Highway 153. Take Highway 153 to Highway 20. Once you're on Highway 20, turn left onto Bracken Road. Use Bracken Road to then turn onto Augusta Road. Go north on Augusta Road to Highway 291 and I-85. You'll be back then on I-85. If you're on southbound I-85, it's going to be the complete opposite. Take the exit to Highway 291, turn left and head south to Augusta Road. Then you'll take Bracken Road to Highway 20. After turning right onto Highway 20, travel to Brown Road and then take a left. That will take you to Highway 153 and then back to Interstate 85 at mile marker 40. Again, that's a lot of information. We do have all of that on our website directly from Highway Patrol. But if you are on the road and you can't check your website, try using the WYFF app on your phone. That'll sometimes give you different detours to take. It will tell you where there are slowdowns as well so that you can avoid this area at all cost. Nigel, Carol.
Sydney, thank you very much. We have crews on the ground and in the air tonight.
Yes, our Rashad Williams joins us now live. Rashad, first, can you tell us where you are and what the latest information is on your end?
So right now I'm along White Horse Road across the street from Spinks. It'll be completely across the highway from where Nate is in the Waffle House parking lot. It took us a long time to get to this point because traffic is in a frenzy right now. Of course, probably the worst time of day with people getting off of work. We know how heavily traveled I-85, White Horse Road, Augusta Road, and the surrounding areas. We know how heavily traveled those are during periods of time later in the afternoon. So a lot of questions coming out of this fluid investigation. We know initially we were told this was a hazardous spill or hazardous incident, and it, of course, has now progressed into a bomb threat. But some of the questions now, where was that truck traveling from, that semi-truck that is in question, and what prompted transport police to stop this vehicle? Now, when you think of transport police, they're at the weigh stations, and I know Carol touched on this earlier. They're at the weigh stations, right? So you normally don't hear about transport police too much, but I'm wondering, and I think a lot of people are wondering, what prompted transport police to stop that vehicle and initiate that routine traffic stop? And at some point during the conversation with the driver and transport police, it was known, or he let it be known, the driver let it be known that there was some sort of bomb or explosives or something on that truck, again, that prompted all the lanes on 85 to be shut down. To give you a quick look at what we're seeing right now, a familiar sight, blue lights, law enforcement here again blocking off the entrance to get onto 85. All entrances to 85, from what we noticed, were blocked off. Traffic was backed up for several miles, not just on the highway, but in the surrounding areas, again, because traffic is being detoured. So check our website and listen in. Sydney's been going over some of the traffic updates as well. If you have to come out and if you have to drive in the vicinity, you want to make sure you know exactly where to go, or else you will find yourself sitting in traffic for long periods of time. Something else that I want to mention before I send it back, I want to state the obvious. I think the nation and all of us are really on edge with the situation that happened in New Orleans, and also with the Cybertruck situation in Las Vegas as well. Everyone is on their toes as we are only day 2 into the new year. And despite how this situation turns out, again, we're all going to be thinking about this. It's all going to be in the back of our minds, and we're going to be treading lightly and moving with caution as we progress through the year because of situations like this. I think the thought is you never think it could happen here, but you have to always be ready for situations like this. So, of course, we'll continue to bring you the latest information on the ground from Sky 4. We'll update you on air and online as more information becomes available. But I think right now, all of the information that we have, we've been giving it to you. And as more becomes available, you'll be the first to know. Back to you.
Shad, thank you very much. This situation now, Nigel, is entering 3.5 hours. It began at about 3:30 in the afternoon when a transport police car stopped a semi-truck driver, was advised somehow that there might be something explosive on board. As I've said before, we're not exactly sure what was said or what triggered this whole thing, but the decision was made immediately to block traffic in both directions on I-85 near White Horse Road. As you've mentioned, I-85, a major thoroughfare through Greenville County, through the state for that matter. And then White Horse Road also, especially at this time of day, it's a major way for folks on I-85 to bypass Greenville and get to northern Greenville County.
Yeah, and as the situation unfolds, I mean, first of all, just getting the semi off the interstate, and it is an active scene, so getting it to where it needs to go, that is going to take time, and it is not going to be easy to just reopen the interstate. It's got to be a fluid operation, and as Rashad was saying, everyone has to approach this situation as if it is what it is, because the time we're living in right now,
yes,
things happen, and we can't say it can't happen here, because it can happen here. So that's why authorities are taking every precaution necessary, all the way from the governor's office, congressmen and women, and pretty much almost every state agency involved in this somehow.
You know, I've been looking at that picture every time it shows up on the daytime. It's very difficult to see at night. And as Nate mentioned, some of the lights have gone out in that area. I don't know if that's by design or not, but that truck seems to be unmarked. And a lot of times when a truck is carrying something hazardous, it will have a diamond-shaped sign on the back with numbers and letters that indicate to other drivers and the transport police as well what's on board. As far as I can tell, that truck doesn't have any identifying information on it.
Yeah, so many questions unanswered. And for law enforcement, that is exactly what they're trying to do, get answers. Our Nate Stanley is across the interstate from where we just saw Rashad. And Nate, tell us what you know so far. And I know it's been eerie, the live shot pictures you've been giving us, not seeing any traffic on White Horse Road at this time of day is eerie.
As you mentioned, it's a visual you're not used to, especially on White Horse Road, especially around 85. And as you can hear behind me, there's some sirens, multiple sirens now coming from 85 behind us. That's the first that we've been hearing of that loud of sirens since we've been out here for the last few hours, but things still shut down here on White Horse Road. As Carol mentioned, as I mentioned earlier, lights now shut down where we are, making the situation, and there's the sirens again as we can hear them from where we're standing, probably a few hundred yards away from where that tractor trailer is. As we mentioned earlier, FBI Columbia also on scene. They arrived on scene not too long ago, and I can see some lights coming up along White Horse Road now, and law enforcement vehicle now passing by at a fairly high rate of speed. I'm not sure how that relates to this situation, but we will continue, as I mentioned, to provide you the information that we have and how this develops, and share what we're seeing here on the scenes, share what we're experiencing here in this Waffle House parking lot. Cars have been coming through at a pretty consistent pace now for the last few hours. People trying to make their way home, people trying to make their way to wherever it is that they're trying to go. And as you mentioned, 85, a highly traveled highway, especially this time of day, with people going all over the southeast, and as you mentioned, the heightened security and the heightened awareness of people this week following the attacks that we have been seeing across the country. People even been reaching out in different states, asking me what's going on here at 85. So it's something that has the attention of people as they are getting the information that is available here. As I mentioned, FBI Columbia, we have confirmed, is on scene working on this active bomb threat. Greenville County Sheriff's Office has confirmed that they have a SWAT and bomb team here on scene on 85. This is near mile marker 44. We're standing on White Horse Road right now. They say they're working in conjunction with the State Transport Police after that potential hazardous device was reported. Governor Henry McMaster also saying that crews are working to clear and sweep that tractor trailer along the highway, saying it's out of an abundance of caution that they have shut these streets down. As I said earlier, White Horse Road, and 100 yards in either direction, completely cut off. Cars not even getting close to it, being turned around from Highway Patrol and other law enforcement vehicles that are out here. Sydney was saying, you know, if you're in this area, if you know somebody in this area, avoid it, as it is a confusing area to navigate right now, and obviously there is an active threat here. Law enforcement vehicles, not much movement since that car that we had seen pass by us a few minutes ago. That's about the most that we have seen vehicles moving in and out of this area. Every once in a while, some faint sirens, but nothing to that extent. We'll continue to monitor this situation, continue to provide you those updates as we are here and getting the information, bring it to you as quick as we can. Nigel and Carol?
Nate, thank you very much. I don't know if we can do this, but let's take a look again, if we can, at some daytime shots of this area, because I think it's important to note that there is a wide margin between this truck and traffic on both sides of it, quite a few feet, I would say yards, of space that they have allowed this truck to have. And as we mentioned earlier, it's a semi truck. It doesn't seem to have any distinctive markings. Look, not even the cab has markings as you might expect to see. There might be something on the door there, but at this distance it's hard to tell exactly what that is. It looks like it might be a double semi-trailer that it's hauling behind it. And we don't seem to see any of the signs on the back that might indicate that it is carrying something hazardous. But we do know that somehow the driver communicated to the transportation police that there was something explosive on board, and they took it as a bomb threat.
Yeah, thankful to the control room for freezing that shot for a while there so we could actually see kind of the truck for a period of time and get a good look at it. And as you can see with this video from earlier today, traffic backed up all over in all directions. We can tell you that they have opened up the toll road 185, where they are allowing cars to go through without having to pay the tolls, just to alleviate some of the congestion that is in that area.
And it's hard to underestimate how important I-85 is for traffic. I mean, you see the number of semis that are backed up there. I-85 and I-95, really major arteries along the East Coast for transporting all kinds of goods.
Well, and think about, too, what just happened. We just concluded the Peach Bowl in Atlanta yesterday. A lot of traffic coming back from that. A lot of people coming off of vacation, too. So 85 looks a lot busier today than it has in the past few days. Nigel and Carol, we were wondering when I was here last what might have caused the State Transport Police to have pulled this rig to begin with. And we appreciate Ann for emailing in. She is a truck driver, and she just said that she wanted to let us know that the state transport officers sometimes pull trucks just randomly. They don't really need a reason. It's just, you know, they'll, like in the airport line, sometimes they'll kind of pull you out. Sometimes that happens just randomly. But she said they sometimes will pull trucks because they'll get a tip on a certain truck. And she does say that she saw another truck pulled at that same spot earlier today. So that could indicate that that was kind of a random place where they were kind of randomly doing checks. It is a really busy part of the interstate. It's also a place where I'm told by law enforcement in the past that a lot of people tend to be speeding as they're coming into that very dangerous wide intersection.
But then you do a check and the person says something that alerts to we may have a serious situation, and that's where we are now.
Exactly, and then that's where Lieutenant Ryan Flood, who's the spokesperson for the Greenville County Sheriff's Office, comes in, and he said that in fact at 3:30, Greenville County SWAT and Bomb Squad was called to the scene exactly for that reason, to assist, because the State Transport Police had said that they were getting a threat from this particular driver. Governor Henry McMaster also tweeted out just before 6 o'clock tonight that the interstate was closed out of an abundance of caution, again, due to a bomb threat. He actually used those words, bomb threat issued during the routine traffic stop. So the governor is saying routine traffic stop. I did also talk to our security expert, Phil Carter. Phil has been a career in law enforcement, local law enforcement, and federal law enforcement. He now is the founder and principal of Sierra Consulting, a national consulting company on security. And Phil said that his sources tell him that it did start as a traffic stop, and that they did exactly the right thing. Phil said law enforcement needed to back up the area around the truck, which they did. He said it's, of course, very inconvenient for all of those people that are on 85 and even around that area to have to stop. But the number one job of law enforcement is protection and precaution. And he said that right now protocol is for these officers, and we've got SWAT team, we've got SLED, we've got Greenville County Sheriff's Office, we've got Bomb Squad there. Their number one priority is to talk to the person who made the threat, to talk to them and engage with them as long as possible. He said they really don't want to enter the cab of the truck. He said, quoting here, entry on these types of events are a last resort. They'll only do that if they're forced to go. So that could indicate that this could be a long-running situation tonight. But he said the number one objective of law enforcement is to resolve this peacefully.
All right, Jane, thank you. We understand that we have video from mile marker 45, if we could look at that. And it shows a very empty I-85 right now. There is something traveling on there that could be law enforcement, we're not sure. But this is mile marker 45, which is one stop up from where the truck is stopped right now. And if we could take a look again at our dayside video of the truck, if that's possible. I've been very curious about what is around that truck right now. We know that they have really backed the traffic way back from that site. But the truck itself, I believe, is near several either on or off ramps along the interstate, and there is empty land there before you start getting into some what we would generally see as a commercial area, you know, with some restaurants, some hotels, and that sort of thing.
Well, this part of the interstate, yeah, there's so many on-ramps and exit ramps as you're coming up, because there's so many intersections that it feeds to in that area. So yeah, it's like a spaghetti junction area of 85 in Greenville County. But when you see the road blocked, cars stopped. We were just showing you that live picture from mile marker 45 where you could see the cars were going over the overpass, but there were no cars on the actual interstate. And the time is 7:15 in the evening. which you'd be seeing cars in all directions, but the fact that it's shut down tells you just how serious the situation is and how serious law enforcement is taking the situation. Again, you see that there. The cars on the overpass, but you see no cars in the northbound lane, no cars in the southbound lane, which would be going under that overpass right there.
Last time we saw something like that, I believe, was the ice storm in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Remember when there was absolutely nothing on the road then. And Nigel, as we were looking at those daytime shots of that truck again, I really looked closely, and it's a remarkably unmarked truck.
Yeah.
There might be something on the door, a registration on the door, but there really aren't any markings on that truck.
Yeah, so this situation again started around 3:30, just after 3:30 this afternoon. Right there is a shot from earlier today of the semi in question where this is taking place. Now, when this situation is over, that truck will have to be towed off the interstate, so this could be a while before the interstate is back open and back flowing full in both directions. For now, go ahead.
Let's take a break and we'll be back after this.
We're continuing to follow the breaking news out of Greenville County. The governor again tweeting I-85 near mile marker 44 temporarily closed out of abundance of caution due to a bomb threat issued during a routine traffic stop this afternoon by South Carolina Transport Police. This story just developing, and still the interstate closed as the investigation is still underway.
It started at about 3:30 this afternoon, and immediately bomb squad and SWAT were called to the scene. We understand that generally means they are in contact somehow with the driver of the truck who issued the bomb threat to the transportation police. They did stop traffic in both directions. That traffic is still stopped, but state troopers have come in and they have established detours for some of the traffic that's entering the area. So some folks are probably still stopped, but others were able to avoid this area. We also understand that I-185, which is generally a toll road, they have lifted tolls right now. So if you are heading out tonight and you're thinking, how am I going to get around this area, you can take I-185 without paying a toll.
We have crews on both sides of the interstate right now. First, we want to go to our Rashad Williams. Rashad, describe the scene where you are right now.
Well, something you probably will never see again, or something I've never seen since I've been here, is an empty White Horse Road. There are no cars here because state troopers, from where we're standing right now, state troopers have blocked off both sides here on White Horse Road across the street from Spinks, this entire vicinity. Okay, so say you have the semi truck, correct? That's on the highway right now. If you draw a huge circle around the vicinity, law enforcement, they have really barricaded and blocked off that area. There are a lot of cars everywhere. Traffic is heavy, not just on the highway where it's blocked off now, the people that are stuck in line, but Augusta Road and some of your other surrounding areas, because people are having to detour, of course. I really want to hone in on the transport police. So Jane mentioned a great point right before the commercial break. This is an agency that you don't really hear too much about, but sometimes they stop trucks randomly, or they stop trucks if they receive a tip. So that is a question that we'll wait to see, wait to get answered. That is a question that I think a lot of people want answers to. So not only that, but where was this truck traveling from as well? And again, what prompted this routine traffic stop, which eventually led to the point where we are now, which is the bomb threat. I want to go ahead and show you again one of the points that is blocked off here. They have been rerouting traffic. There are, again, long lines. So if you're heading out, just know that we do have the information for detours on our website. Probably the worst time of day now as we start to get into the night. Worst time of day for the roads to be blocked off, because we know how heavily traveled White Horse Road, Augusta Road, 85, especially again, this is an artery, 85, an artery from Atlanta to Charlotte. So not just people who live in the upstate, who live and work and call this place home, but people who are also traveling through to other parts of the country, now stuck in this traffic jam. Now on the other side here of 85, our Nate Stanley is in the parking lot of Waffle House. I believe the scene is pretty similar there. Nate, can you tell us what it looks like from your standpoint?
And Rashad, you had mentioned it's a scene that you would never expect to see. The middle of the week, the middle of the day, the middle of rush hour, White Horse Road, right by 85, completely empty with the exception of a handful of law enforcement vehicles. No cars have been coming through here unless, of course, they have the flashing blue lights. Those have been the only ones. And again, now we're starting to hear more sirens towards 85, down by 85. And as you can see now from behind where I'm standing, where law enforcement is turning those vehicles around and sending them along the detours here on White Horse Road. As we mentioned earlier, you can find details on the route detours on WYFF4.com. There we have all the information from South Carolina Highway Patrol. We talked about this earlier. Right now, the scene hasn't changed much in the last couple of hours. The law enforcement vehicle is still sitting here, still keeping things shut down. No cars moving to or from, but turning cars around. As we said, the FBI Columbia is on scene. We had that confirmed a little while ago. Greenville County Sheriff's Office confirms that they have a SWAT team, a bomb team here on scene working with that tractor trailer, working through this active bomb threat. The governor of South Carolina, Henry McMaster, also has his eyes on this. He says that crews are working to clear and sweep that tractor trailer along the highway. And as we've been saying the last couple hours, it's been getting darker and darker. There are normally lights here that are poles of lights standing and turned on once it gets dark here by the on and off ramps. Those have been shut off now. They turned off a little while ago, and they still remain off, and we're continuing to hear sirens. It's been quiet for the last 45 minutes or so, except for those law enforcement sirens, and we are continuing to hear them, seeing the law enforcement vehicles move around a little bit more here on White Horse Road. Things completely shut down. All lanes of 85, all lanes of White Horse Road, turning vehicles around. If you're coming through this area, if you have loved ones in this area, tell them to avoid it. Just as people have been going through this parking lot and having to turn around, confused about how to navigate this situation, and it is continuing to create some headaches for folks, especially as it's darker. People are navigating maybe a new way home, so just be patient and be safe as you're going home tonight. As we mentioned, still an active scene here. Law enforcement vehicles still sitting along the road, keeping people from driving through. There was a woman walking along the sidewalk not too long ago. Highway Patrol officer came out and told her to avoid walking any further than she was, told her to go through the Waffle House parking lot and to not get any closer. Same thing they're telling the vehicles here, to turn around and to not get closer as another vehicle passes by us here. Without lights on. We're just monitoring and providing you the information as it becomes available and letting you know what we're seeing here on scene. We'll continue to bring you these updates live from the scene and provide that information as it becomes available. Nigel and Carol.
Nate, one question I'd like to ask you. How far do you estimate you are from that truck where you are right now?
From what I've been told earlier, probably a few hundred yards. We're a little bit on a hill here, so it's hard to actually see onto 85, but looking at a map from a bird's eye view, probably a few hundred yards away from where that tractor trailer was sitting.
All right, Nate, thanks very much. We'll check in with you later.
South Carolina Highway Patrol has set up detours around the incident.
Our Sydney Shadricks joins us again. And Sydney, let's let people know how they can get around that interstate closure if they've got to be out that way tonight.
Yeah, Carol, Nigel, I think the best advice is if you can stay away from this area, stay away, because I'm looking at it in real time on my phone, and even these detours, these areas are just slammed. But we do want to give you the detours given to us by Highway Patrol. Take a look. If you are headed north, state troopers say to take exit 40 and then turn left onto Highway 153. I will tell you, there is a lot of traffic on Highway 153, but once you get there, you're going to turn onto Highway 20. Once you're on Highway 20, turn left onto Bracken Road and travel to Augusta Road. Augusta Road. You'll also see heavy traffic there, but once you're on Augusta Road, head north to Highway 291. That'll put you back on I-85. If you're going southbound on 85, it is the opposite. Take the exit to Highway 291 and turn left and head south to Augusta Road. Then you'll take Bracken Road to Highway 20. After turning right onto Highway 20, travel to Brown Road and turn left. That will take you to Highway 153 and back to Interstate 85 at mile marker 40. But like I said, this entire area is congested. I'm using the app Waze right now, which will give you real-time traffic based on what other people on the road are seeing. And let me just tell you, if you're on the northern side of this incident, traffic is slow all the way up to the Lawrence Road exit. If you could get off at the Lawrence Road exit, that would be your best bet. Traffic is slow all the way up to that point. Again, if you're on the northern side of this incident. If you're on the southern side of this incident, you're going to see traffic all the way down to Highway 86 past Powdersville. If you can get off before you even reach Powdersville, that is your best bet. Like I said, these are the detours given to us by Highway Patrol. They are on our website, but if you can avoid the area at all cost. Carol, Nigel.
That's good advice. Thank you, Sydney. Let's take a look at a traffic map that we have put together. This will kind of give you a good idea of some of the roads that we're talking about. And you can see that, yeah, there is definitely a big gap there right in the middle of that traffic circle.
So that is 85 through there, and you can see you can't get through there. So that is why they have opened up 185, the toll road, in order to let drivers get around the area where this semi is and where is blocked off. So you can see there are ways, as Sydney was just showing us, there are ways around the situation, but this graphic kind of gives you a good view of where the situation is taking place and the amount of backup. You could see the exclamation mark and the triangles there. But basically, in order to get around it, that is what you'll have to do. Take 185 or take 385 and go around it through Greenville.
You know, and Nigel, it's hard to underestimate how important I-85 and I-95 are for traffic through South Carolina. There's such a volume of traffic every day, every hour on those roads. So, you know, now that these secondary roads are having to take some of this, you can expect some traffic problems on some of these secondary roads. And as Sydney mentioned, if you can avoid this area tonight, I know some people have to get there, but if you can avoid it, you would probably be better off because the traffic on some of these alternate routes is going to be heavy.
We are now into 4 hours into this situation. Yes. Since we got the initial call of State Transport Police officer stopping a semi-truck. Something happened where law enforcement was called, the interstate was shut down, and then this entire situation began to play out. You can see the semi-truck there off the side of the interstate, but look at that.
Look how isolated they have made it. And there are buildings that are nearby that truck. We don't know what it's carrying. The bomb squad and SWAT has been called. We understand that there is some communication going on between the driver and those officers, but they are trying to find out what might be on that truck, how dangerous it is, how to get this situation resolved and clear up the road.
Yeah, I mean, the number of agencies involved, the FBI, State Transport Police, Greenville County Sheriff's Office, SLED, the governor has been tweeting about it. So, I mean, this incident is very major. And when we're talking about the artery that is Interstate 85 shut down, just shows you how big this situation is.
Well, we keep hearing that this was done out of an abundance of caution, but think about what has happened over the past couple of days elsewhere in the nation. You probably can't be too cautious when it comes to somebody saying, hey, there's a bomb threat on this truck.
You cannot be too cautious. You have to take it very seriously, and it's all about saving lives. We'll continue to follow this story and have much more on the other side of this break.
Yes, we do have breaking news. We return with some good news. Bomb team members have deemed the situation safe and they are reopening I-85. The driver of the tractor trailer is in the custody of the South Carolina State Transport Police. Let's bring you back to what happened this afternoon at about 3:30 on I-85 near mile marker 44.
State Transport Police pulled over a semi. We've been showing you the pictures of that semi truck. Something happened which caused an investigation. The semi there, SWAT team was called. Greenville County law enforcement surrounded the area. The Highway Patrol, State Police closed down the interstate.
The FBI came.
The FBI was brought in, but the interstate was basically shut down, so no northbound traffic, no southbound traffic as this investigation unfolded.
We understand again that bomb team members have deemed the situation safe. They are now reopening I-85. Our Nate Stanley is there along the exit onto White Horse Road. Nate, what can you tell us?
Well, we can hear the sound of cars going down 85, and if I look over my left shoulder, I can see some cars starting to drive down White Horse Road. I'm sure that those drivers are happy to finally be moving, but as you said, it's been deemed safe, so cars are driving now, and you can hear the commotion, not the commotion, you can hear the cars driving through 85. As I said, I've been out here in a Waffle House parking lot for the last few hours. When we first got here, we met some pretty cool folks here, Wisdom and Kenya. They are working here at the Waffle House, and you were saying that normally this time of day, it's pretty busy. The streets, you know, are pretty packed full of people. What is it like on a normal day?
Just normally, just streets are going, the cars are going just up and down. We're not usually as dead like this is on a on a Thursday afternoon. We've just been completely dead today.
Mm-hmm. And what has it been like? I mean, what have you been doing the last few hours? I mean, what's been going through your head knowing that there was a scene just a few hundred yards away from where you guys have been?
Just been really slow and like hard to just keep business when it's going like this. They, like you said prior, they cut down the roads at like 4. And just ever since then, we've just been dead for the past few hours. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, you said you've been working here for a few months. I mean, same question. Well, what's it been like kind of working through this today and knowing that this is happening a few hundred yards away from where you guys are?
Just trying to stay busy. We've been kind of nosy. I mean, trying to figure out what's been going on. But just trying to stay productive within the store and things like that. But other than that, just, you know, just trying to stay busy, I guess.
It's scary knowing that there's an incident not even miles away, a couple feet away.
Yeah.
And it's like right by our business. It's really like detrimental.
And now to hear that, you know, everything's been deemed safe, cars are moving now. Yeah. I mean, what's going through your minds?
Hopefully the business will pick back up. Third shift is about to come into play, so hopefully they'll get some business that we didn't get. So good luck for them.
And you were just saying, you know, it was kind of scary the last, you know, few hours being a few hundred yards away from where this was happening, but now to know that things have been deemed safe. I mean, talk to me through how that feels.
Yeah, as a local, you know, it's pretty, we expect business on days like this, and then when an incident happens like this, it's just not good for us. It's not looking good for us, you know.
Yeah, well, thank you guys so much. Yeah, if you're swinging by, come stop by the Waffle House, meet our friends here. Check us out. That's what she said. As we had mentioned earlier, things now deemed safe. You can hear the traffic moving through 85, and now the traffic lights are starting to change here on White Horse Road and the on-ramps of I-85. That's been something that hasn't happened the last few hours. Still, law enforcement turning some people around down on White Horse Road. No doubt they'll start letting folks through on this side of the road. But again, things safe here. People now walking down the road, and the Waffle House folks excited that maybe some more people will start swinging by. Nigel and Carol.
Nate, I have a feeling they're going to get packed at that Waffle House. Thank you very much. But it's very nice to see that traffic is moving again, and this situation has been deemed safe. Again, it started around just after 3:30, and it has been a very long afternoon.
A very tense afternoon on I-85 there near mile marker 44, White Horse Road. But bomb team members again have deemed the situation safe. They have reopened I-85 and probably as a result White Horse Road. The driver of the tractor trailer involved in this is in the custody of the South Carolina State Transport Police. We'll have complete coverage of this incident coming up tonight at 11 on WYFF News 4. Thank you for joining us. We return you now to regular programming.